Yeah, thank you, Sarah. I'm Timo. I'm one of the co-founders of LFCA, and I think many of you know me by now already. And before we jump into the ups and downs of this past year, I really just want to share a couple of personal words about LFCA and the LFCA story. Because when we started LFCA, which was about 3 years ago in 2019, like back in the days when Corona was not yet there and nobody was working from home in a completely different area, we were a bunch of people who were really committed to work on the climate. But to be very honest, we had no idea what we should actually do. We were no experts in climate at all. And I think this is interesting because also today we have many community members, probably many of you who are joining today who are really just getting started with their climate journey. And I think if I'm really honest, like even today, after 3 years of working full-time on climate, I really struggle to call myself an expert, a climate expert. I mean, maybe wearing a Patagonia jacket helps a little bit, but honestly, I learned a lot in 3 years, but there's still so much that I don't know. And I'm getting reminded of this every now and then. So just the other day, we had one of our new onboarding courses, and I was asked a question, and the question was really simple. Like it was something that I even heard a couple of times before. I think it was around measuring emissions in your home office or something like this. And I didn't know the answer, and I felt really terrible. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm supposed to be the expert here, right? Like I should know this answer. But then I caught myself and I circled the question back into the room. And someone else jumped in, helped me out, and answered the question. And for me, like if I look at LFCA or what LFCA is, this is really what LFCA is in a nutshell. Like I think it's so important. You don't need to be an expert in every topic. I think, in fact, it's even good if you acknowledge that you will never be. But you might know something about a certain area, about a certain topic that other members don't. And I think if we manage collectively to shake off this imposter syndrome, this feeling of holding back because we're not quite sure, I think then we can really unlock the power of such a community. And for us as a team over the last couple of months, we have really tried to double down on this idea, this vision of creating a shared space, safe space for practical climate knowledge exchange. And while we're still figuring out many of the ways how to actually do this, every single person on our team is extremely excited about the stuff that we've seen in the last couple of months and the stuff that is about to come in the next year. Now, if you would have told me 3 years ago when LFCA was still a hobby, that we would have by now a network of more than 3,000 community members from more than 40 countries, I would not have believed it, to be honest. So today is also a moment to celebrate the developments of the last month or of the last years, and to celebrate and thank you. So we want to celebrate those that are asking the questions. We also want to celebrate those that are answering the questions. And we also want to celebrate those that are quiet listeners so far. I know that you're just preparing and slowly building the confidence to then make your first move. Now, it felt like, okay, I can't really do this climate-related meeting at the end of a year without at least sharing a couple of words about what was climate like in 2022. And if I'm looking back at the year, I see 2 different things. And the first thing that I see is desperation. And I think it's fair and it's okay to acknowledge that it's tough times working in climate or caring about the climate. I mean, we've seen another year of record-setting things. It almost feels like a mantra already, right? Like droughts, fires, storms, every year is getting worse. And we all know it's already like the new normal, and we should not really expect that this is going to change in the next couple of years. And we've seen calls from the science community getting more desperate, asking politicians to finally act. And yet we saw it in the last COP. We have some small successes, but the really big levers are still waiting to be moved. But I'm not going to leave you with that, obviously, because despite all of these setbacks and bad news, that's also been a year of hope. And there's more than one reason for hope, but let me just pick this one as a good example. So just the other week, the International Energy Agency, and they're a rather conservative voice on the spectrum, so a very not necessarily a green think tank, they released some new numbers on the progress in the energy transition. And I think this is something that should give all of us hope. So if you look at this graph on the right side, 3 years ago, the projection was this lowest graph that you can see. And then after 1 year, they realized, oh, actually things are moving faster. We're not really used to this because politicians are always just like, oh, we don't meet the targets, we don't meet the targets. But here it's different. So we can see they raised the bar. And this year, again, just a couple of weeks ago, they looked back at the year and they saw, oh, we're faster than we would expect. So I think the takeaway here is really to realize and know and always remember the change is happening. It's not really something like it's out of discussion. It's coming, it's happening. It's a matter of how fast can we make it work. And we can all play a role in accelerating this transition. Now, that being said, let's look at the core of why we're here today. Let's talk about the community. And I'm happy to pass on the mic to my friend and colleague Piotr, who's going to tell you a couple of things about what's been cooking in our content and knowledge hub area. So Piotr, over to you.
Thank you, Timo. Good morning, everyone. I see sort of a nice geeky emoji there. It looks similar with my glasses a little bit, but let me just share my screen. And you have disabled screen sharing, sorry, so you need to allow me to share my screen.
Oh, really? But you're a host. You should be able now. Try again.
Nope.
Okay, then yes, you should be able now.
Now I'm able. Thank you. All right, you should be able to see my screen. Sorry for that little glitch, but my name is Piotr, technically the Chief Operating Officer of our community, practically doing a couple of things. One of those things being curating our climate voice and curating the resources that we put together for you and the knowledge hub and other places, such as newsletter, such as some of the guides that we publish. So just to spend a couple of minutes to get you up to date on some of the things that we introduced recently, but also elaborate on what is it that we have cooking or in the kitchen for the months to come. So when you think about Knowledge Hub, which is kind of this central piece in your members area, what we've been really trying to prioritize is 4 things. So we've heard from you that there's a lot of content there, but it's not super navigable. So improving navigation has been one of the major focus areas. Second thing is we've heard from a lot of you, and Tim already referred to it, that actually help with the very first steps on your journey of figuring out what your priorities are, making sure that you set the right targets, picking up the right climate lens is something that many of you would appreciate help with. So we did try to spend a lot of time making sure that that the guidance is as practicable and actionable as possible in that space. Also, what we believe in is, and you know that yourselves, but there's a lot of static guidance. There are lots of documents that are somewhat disconnected, really walls of text. So where we try to help you a little bit is to simplify the complexity there and package it into interactive formats that you can take and have a conversation around or bring people, which is another focus area. And the most important thing, and I put it as the fourth thing, but it's actually probably the very core of it, but making sure that your contributions are highlighted. So again, sort of this idea of p-learning, we're in the very core of our belief of what is needed in order to sort of democratize knowledge and break through certain barriers is another focus area. I'm going to show you a couple of things, but before I go there, one update is that a lot of the stuff that you see when you log into members here has been either updated or rewritten from scratch over the past couple of months. So there's a lot of change already kind of implemented, but also a lot of changes coming. So that's one thing. Now, one of the biggest things in terms of navigation, what we did is we introduced categories, and categories mirror a guidance framework that we use. It's called 1.5 degree playbook, and it's been designed by Exponential Roadmap, used by many innovative companies. But the whole idea behind it is that it really helps you go beyond certain claims and compartmentalize action that you take into a number of buckets being decarbonization, but also going beyond decarbonization, looking into your core business model and looking into wider influence that you can have in society. But all of this is just to help you make sense out of the abundance of resources that are out there and translate it into an actual strategy. So I think that's one of the major changes that we introduce in terms of navigation, but also what you'll see popping up more and more is that we try to weave actions into each other and show how everything relates to some of the other things. So, you know, when you think about offsetting practice, whether it's compensation or neutralization, this obviously ties into certain climate claims. Or this ties into climate justice. So we want to make it those kind of trade-offs and connections a little bit more visible in the app. So that's something that you'll see more of. And another thing that we're working on is packaging those actions into collections of actions to help you also make sense out of it. So I think that's one big update. Second big update is that we've been listening. So we, apart from having individual interviews with many of you, we try to listen very much where the needs are. And again, we're repeating ourselves here, but the needs are with very specific clusters, and the clusters you see in the slides. And what we want to do is we want to really go deeper there and make sure that we provide guidance in that space. So very practically, what this means in the next couple of weeks and months, we're going to be working on guidance on science-based target setting. I think we're going to have Johan also elaborating a little bit on his practical experience with that, and actually a community initiative in that space. But no financial disclosures obviously sort of are on many people's minds. We're thinking of developing a strategy canvas, so really just to facilitate the few first steps in a self-guided manner that you can pick up and help you actually arrive at a clear strategy. Business model transformation and communicating climate claims is another thing that we've heard a lot is on people's minds. Now, interactive formats, I think this is a little bit self-explanatory, but again, what we don't want to be doing, and hopefully you see that a little bit, but we don't want to be providing walls of text that are technical, right? So we want to decrease the distance to this technical issue of sustainability, technical issue of climate action. So we try to simplify things, really highlight the practical steps that you need to take, and most of all, and that's the next slide, highlight your contributions, all of that. And in that space, you should expect more of a more guidance coming in a more interactive format. But that's really the core of it, right? So everything that you submit there, all the comments, all the emojis, we really look at it. We want to make sure that we give it the visibility that it deserves in members area, and we curate our resources around it. So what you should expect from the product side, and Timo's the one who's heading up a little bit, but you should expect more recognition of that coming soon. So this looking a little bit more personal than just comments submitted to a particular action module, as we call it. Now, one thing that we've been struggling a little bit is that we had two places where actually knowledge has been exchanged and conversation has been happening. So one place was our Slack group where questions are being asked and answers are being provided, and the other place was hidden behind the login. What we want to do in the weeks to come really is to integrate those things together. So what you already have in the app is, you can leave a comment, you can leave a reaction, you can respond in a thread. But what we're working on is a very simple way for you to export either a conversation or a thread into the members area, into the Knowledge Hub. And this integration is coming rather soon. So, you see here, December 2022, we're in December, so expect it to be live soon. And another thing that we're working on is there's a number of documents and resources in Knowledge Hub. We want to make sure that we have a little bit more of a powerful search for you. So if you type in, let's say, transition plan, you see 3 resources, either external or internal, that you can crawl a little bit better, and you can find when you need it. So really turning conversations into an insight that could be documented and shared with others is really the idea behind it. We have a nice, just to sort of share it back with you, because we're curating, and those insights are coming from all of you. Over the past couple of months, we've had 240 comments being added, and this doesn't count some of the historical ones that we added. So there's a lot of activity, which we're very, very happy to see. And it's not only with those comments, but it's the same thing with the little directory of tools and service providers that we curate. So we've had 60, even more reviews being provided, and it's something that we know actually helps people make better decisions, right? So it's one thing when you read about a service provider on the website, and there's a lot of marketing collateral there to try to sort of influence you to make a buying decision, but it's something else when you actually hear about first-hand practice of working with this provider. So two things. So input is from your side is very, very appreciated, but we also, what we hear is that it helps people make decisions. So thanks for that, and we'd love to see even more of that. Speaking of which, we had a quick look just before the call yesterday, and I'm not sure if some of you recognize those companies, or we have people from those companies, but these are some of the companies that have been most active when it comes to those two things. So submitting comments, reviews, participating in events, and yeah, on behalf of LFCA, a very big thank you, a heartfelt gratitude from our side, and again, sort of, for you guys spreading your insights and knowledge with others. We really appreciate it. Again, since we don't really believe in pure talk and showing slides, and we really believe in this idea of peer learning collaboration, and this also applies to this very moment, we're wondering, and there's going to be a few of those interactive moments throughout the session today, but what we would love for you to do right now, just take 1 minute. I already mentioned that most of our members have questions and concerns around a number of clusters, and those clusters being very practically data collection, right? To manage your emissions inventory, designing a climate strategy, or embedding it in a broader sustainability strategy, offsetting practice, obviously, communicating climate claims, ESG non-financial disclosures, securing buy-in, both from your colleagues, but also from management leadership, and value chain emissions, including scope 3 calculation. So these are really the biggest clusters. What we would love for you to do right now is just fill out a very simple type form. So you can either take out your phone and scan the QR code, or I hope Anna is going to post a link in the chat right now, unless it has already been done.
Already there.
That has already been done. So if you could just take 1 minute for you to raise your hand and say, hey, actually, I did that in the past. Or, I read a little bit about it, or, I know someone who knows something about it. That would help us a lot with making use of it. Let's put it like that. But just a quick knowledge mapping exercise. I'm going to shut up right now so you can open the link and fill it out, and then we continue.
Just as a little addition, it doesn't mean that we ask you to do a course or a lecture or something. It can be just one link, one book recommendation, one person to talk to about this, some tool that you used, like anything. It can be quite short advice, but something that other companies can really make use of in their sustainability strategy.
Now we'll give you a minute or two, so take your time.
We already have 4 responses.
Coming in.
Already 10. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
So we will contact all of you who fill in the form a bit later, and follow up on this and ask more details.
Fantastic, thanks for that. But that's not the end of interaction. There's one more thing that again, I hope what you get from this is that we try to really listen where the needs are, and we try to sort of curate everything that we do to again what the needs are of the community. So just another show of hands in a digital format because we're on a poll. But very simple question: what would you like us to focus more on over the next, say, year? And we're giving you 3 options, but if you see anything else that when it comes to sort of providing you with guidance in all shapes of form, in all formats, is concerned, just raise your hand and we can also have a conversation about it. But the poll that you're going to see on your screens in a couple of seconds, Sarah, concerns 3 options. And one thing is. So one thing is more in-depth guidance on putting some of the actions in practice, right? So if we're talking about supplier engagement, what we could imagine doing is providing you with more templates, with more questionnaires, with more kind of things that you can do and self-guide yourself, plus this navigation component of improving search and making sure sort of that those resources are not too noisy and not navigable. So that being one thing. Second thing is what we could also imagine doing is we could imagine expanding the directory of providers of specialized services, but not just expanding and kind of getting the reviews, but we can also try to negotiate collectively some discounts for you, right? So you can imagine that for your measurement, for your compound accounting, you would get as an LFCA member a discount here and there. And that's something that, we've been trying to hold off on a little bit on, but we can imagine going there if you see the need for actually working with specialized providers and some of the elements of the stuff that you're working on. And the third thing, again, user-generated knowledge, peer learning, and this really believe. But right now, the resources are very much curated by our team. We have the long-term intention of opening it up and giving you a little bit more flexibility, either to make edits, to suggest things to anything that you actually see, but also sort of suggest new actions, also suggest sector-specific things for other companies and kind of wrap it up. But these are the 3 options.
Actually, I think raised hand there from.
I might maybe I launch the poll and then so that you start replying to the questions meanwhile.
Exactly. So you can launch the poll. You can vote, and in the meantime, we can do the hands. So Eric, your hand is up.
Okay, now the mic should be open. Yeah, I think it's kind of an extension of option B. I think the network within the community, we could work on that a little bit more. For example, we're producing marketing goods. We're offering CO2 compensation scheme, scope 3 for our customers. And well, one option I see is like offering free CO2 compensation for members of the community, stuff like that, just to create value for people who joined into the community. And I think there are a lot of service providers or maybe even producers of goods that could help each other out, and just being able to buy from somebody or discussing with somebody who's aware of the climate impact of what we're all doing, I think would be a benefit to most of us.
Fair point. Absolutely. So I think this ties a little bit into the kind of formats we'd like to run in the future. But yes, it's leveraging the resources and the knowledge of the community, and one of the
exactly.
But fair point. Absolutely. I think it's broadly in the scope of the second one, with the kind of extension into collaboration, partnerships, and providing resources. But thanks for adding.
Exactly. So LFCA could be kind of a, let's say, clearinghouse for companies who want to put their services and products on a different level, so you don't have to check it each and every time again. There are no labels you can really believe in, or very few at least. So I think that would be a huge benefit that LFCA could provide. Okay, now I'm shutting up.
Thanks a lot. Amazing.
Great. So we have 70% of answers. I would leave a couple more seconds if someone else wants to reply to the poll, and then we can share the results. But I can already give a little spoiler, which is that for now, option A is by far the winner. So probably in-depth guidance, is highly needed.
I think if you close it, people can see it, right? Like after.
Yes, I see the voting flow stopping, so I will close it now. And I should be able to share the results. So you should be able to see now the results.
Amazing.
Perfect. There was also someone suggesting an option D, by the way, just in case it goes lost in the chat. So someone saying that a more positive example, like networking and forums to problem solve, which I think connects very well with what Anna is going to present right now. So yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought that the screen will be shared with my slides, so but I will share it.
I can also share it for you if you don't find it.
Found it. Share screen. Okay, should work now, right? Great. So I'm very happy to present you this part because that's something that we're very, very passionate about. And these are all of the events and all of the, face-to-face meetups, everything that we organized this year. And I think it was always present as part of our community, but this year we definitely brought it to the new level, and hopefully we continue this trend next year. You can feel already that this peer exchange is such a red thread that goes through everything that we do. And what Piotr was just sharing in the Knowledge Hub and in the Slack communication space, there we have this peer exchange in kind of asynchronous format, so you can interact with it whenever you have time. But we think that this direct exchange on the meetings, let it be online meetings or offline, big formats or small formats, all of that is really, really important. And we want to create this feeling of shoulder for you, that you're actually part of the community, that you're not just subscribed to some newsletter, but you're really part of this network. And this is present in your working life when you work on climate action in your company. So we introduced several formats. Some of them are really new, some of them are just like next level of what we had already before. So first of all, we created onboarding course because we found out that there are a lot of new people joining your teams, and you invite them to the platform. And by the way, that's really amazing thing to do. Thank you very much. And if you maybe now can think about some colleague who still don't have access to our platform, please let us know, or you can also send them invite through our platform. So please onboard your colleagues more, and that's really important. If more of people from your company are part of the community and they share the same mindset, the same info background. So this onboarding course was initially created for these new people who are completely new to the community, but then we found out that it actually can be very useful also for a lot of you who maybe were not following with all of the changes on the product, and you just want to have the overview of everything that we do and find some helpful pieces. But also want to add that here it's not just guidance through the, let's say, LFCA ecosystem, through the tools that we offer, through the information that we have available. It actually can be presented also not just LFCA onboarding course, but just like general, let's say, introduction into climate action at your company. So we share a lot of pieces of knowledge that we already harvested from our community, a lot of tips, a lot of things, how to run the teams, how to get buy-in from your colleagues, from your leadership, and so on and so on. So it's really a lot of useful information there, and you can sign up every month. We run it. It's 4 sessions every week. And yeah, we share all of the slides with you and so on. You can spread the word further in your company. So that's a new format, and already more than 50 people participated in it, and we had really amazing feedback, so highly recommend. You can find the sign up option in the events section on the platform. And then second part is mastermind groups. I think you should have heard a lot about that. We were sending you quite a lot of announcements, reminders, and so on. And this is really one of the cores of what we are doing right now. This is groups which we divided by sector. So we have now 17 sector-specific groups, and more than 100 people are engaged in these groups. And there you come together every month in quite an intimate group with not so many people, like from 3 to 8, and you exchange what you're working on right now, what are your current challenges, and then other people provide you input on this topic. And each group has also a facilitator who are professionals in the sustainability area, and they also can share some insight with you, but this is exactly the peer-to-peer exchange. Starting from January, we also want to keep developing this format. So we will also let you exchange on the topics across the groups. So some topics like data assessment or leadership buy-in, they can be relevant for any sector. So we will also give you this opportunity to exchange across the groups. So stay tuned. There will be some announcements soon. And the third format that is also sort of new is this exact meeting where we are right now with you. So all hands for the whole community, where we want to host these meetings once per quarter, and there we will be sharing with you just right now what has been done, what opportunities we've created for you, and also gather feedback from you and gather your questions that can help us to shape even better what we're doing. So then this is what I already mentioned, that in the app you have a section on the events, and you can sign up there to the mastermind groups or to the all hands meetings or to onboarding courses. Everything that is coming up, we put that now on the platform, and you can just sign up there. You can also share this with your colleagues. And also this year we had quite a few offline meetings that were related to some projects. Some of them were quite spontaneous or partner hosted. So we still don't host whole community official offline like LFCA meetings, but there were several gatherings in Berlin where we could meet you face to face, and we felt that it was really needed. So I hope we will find a way to do that more in the future. And by the way, if you would like to host events in your location, especially if it's not Germany, in other countries, we have a lot of members, but we don't have headquarters there. So please contact us. We will be happy if you can host some event, and we will invite their local members. And then big shout out to Johan, who we already mentioned a couple of times. So Johan is one of our early stage members who is with us for almost 3 years already and very active in our community. And this month he just initiated on Slack opportunity, like let's come together and talk about science-based targets, because that's what he was working on. And then Johan, would you like to share a couple words on how it went and how it felt for you, and yeah, how many people were there? You can see a couple of screenshots, but still.
Yeah, no, the screenshots are helpful. I was thanks. It reminds me of all the people. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. One, it was helpful to me not only to relay the information that, how Tourlane went through this process, but to remind myself of what the actual lesson, it was basically a retro for myself, right? So to remind me that we had some lessons and we could have done some things differently, but it was also helpful to, not only that, but to help others, kind of navigate the process, because it is SBTI. If you haven't done it, or science-based targets, if you haven't done it, it can be super confusing, or at least it certainly was to me. And I think it can be challenging, and setting targets far into the future and committing today for 15 years from now, or even longer, is daunting. So and it's expensive, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, or do you involve consultants, etc. So there's a lot of questions around that, and it was helpful to get the community involved. It was helpful to hear other people's perspectives. I certainly wasn't the only expert in the group by far, and I learned a lot too. So I definitely encourage this. This is really helpful not only to me, but I definitely encourage it. And if somebody has one for CSRD, the Corporate Sustainable Reporting Directive, that's coming up, and I am reading up on it, so I will happily contribute. But if somebody has like some serious knowledge, I would definitely tag me in a Slack somewhere, because I will show up. It's coming, and I think it's another avenue for us to kind of get together and figure it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing and for this initiative. I think it's really inspiring, and I hope there will be more initiatives like that next year, and we will definitely support this with our infrastructure and resources. And yeah, so this is one of the examples how each of you can basically make use of the community, and how you can share what you know, and how you can also ask for the knowledge that you're really missing from the others. And I also wanted to share a couple of other examples that are completely different. We really happy to see that now every month, like the core of most active people in our community is really growing, and more people get engaged in the formats and really start being involved. And also we can hear a lot of immediate feedbacks that people get immediate value, and they get from all of these meetups and masterminds and the knowledge hub. They get insights that they can implement right away. They get introduced to the people that they can talk right away, and people connect to each other. So I wanted to share just a couple of examples, but there's so many of you who do so amazing things within the community. But for example, I wanted to tell about Alize, who wanted to have more like impact in everything that she's doing professionally, and she volunteered with us 2 years ago for several months and helped us to grow our French chapter and onboarded quite a lot of French companies to our community. And then she moved with this whole knowledge and this whole network gathered around it to Forto and then Tier, and now she joined as a sustainability manager at Mobility, and also joined the onboarding course to catch up with all of the updates that we've built and mastermind groups. So that's I think a great example of being like really actively involved with our network. And then there is Michael from Volocopter, who is also active member of mastermind groups. And I also loved how he shared that he also scheduling one-on-one meetings with the members of the group to catch up on certain topics, or when he's visiting the city where he knows that a person from the mastermind group is, so they come together. And generally, he's just very open to reaching out to other sustainability managers and exchanging with them, and even scheduling monthly catch-ups with competitors. I think that's a really cool example. That's what we all should do in the area of sustainability. And then Johanna from Hive joined one mastermind group, then shared with us very direct feedback. And I also want to encourage you that with everything that we do, we are very, very open for feedback that especially is very direct and precise, and with things that highlighted that we can improve. And we did definitely learn from this. And then she moved to another group and generously sharing the knowledge there. And then Christina from Sono Motors also is active member of the groups, but also she shared with us so many useful insights through our interviews in summer that we were running the community survey, and also active part of the roundtables. And also I really love that Christina always brings her colleagues with her on the meetings and really like expands this to the team. And I think Christina is also part of this call. So thank you all very much. This is just very, very small, a couple examples. Unfortunately, I cannot talk about each of you right now, but I also wanted to tell that there are more and more people who are active on our Slack community space. We have 1,400 people there right now, and we feel that it is kind of building the momentum. I think just a few months ago it was not so active, but now it's really active. And people who contribute to that most of all is Elvin Elati, Markus Reiberg, Maximilian Riedel, Christoph Görken, Sarah Bauerle. So these people posted more than 70 messages overall in Slack. I think that's really amazing, and thank you very much for being part of it. That's really important. And here is another point for the interaction with you. We really want to hear what you want more from this kind of exchange formats. So here are 3 options. So what would you like to have more for the next year? Some physical events that probably will be smaller meetups, locally hosted. We don't want to, organize some big conference that will make you to travel, but we want this rather local connections. And then maybe some smart variation of networking, some speed dating, community-wide online format. Are you interested in meeting more people like one-on-one in the short formats and then stay connected to them? Or maybe some pop-up roundtables on specific topics like the one that we gave you example with the Johan. Maybe you already know that you want to host it or you want to just participate in such initiatives. So these are 3 options that we put on the table, but please feel free to share in the chat more options related to the events. And yeah, I think Sarah was about to launch the poll right now, right?
Here you go. You should be able to see it.
Yeah, and thank you very much for actively participating in this part. It's not just some event entertainment. It's really something that we save these results and we will use this through our work already next quarter. So that's a very, very important input for us. And thank you very much for not like doing, second screen. That is very easy with such meetings, and really being with us and really sharing your opinion.
Yeah, and also for being so active in participating like fast. We already have 80% of people having replied, which is like, it shows the level of participation. Maybe I'll wait a couple of seconds and then I share the results. Again, little spoiler, we have option A and option C being the most voted and almost same amount of votes. But yeah, actually, there is quite a need for all the formats, I would say. I will end the poll and share now so that everybody can see. But yeah, I would say we have a quite widespread need for all types of formats, most of all offline events, and roundtables on specific topics, like the one that spontaneously started with SPTIs. I'll say this.
So thank you very much for the input. We take it to our backlog, and then we move to the next chapter that Sarah will present you.
Yes, indeed. So wait a second, I will share my screen. Yes, so you should be able to see my screen, correct? Perfect.
Yes.
I see notes, so I take it as a yes. Yes, so I mean, we talked about a lot of formats, and there is also another format that is really dear to us because it helps us getting together as a community for wide goals, right? So you heard by now so many times about the concept of sphere of influence, and for us, a very clear way to step out of our comfort zone and like to reach the outer world with our work as a community is indeed campaigns. So we generally always participated in many projects and campaigns, but I think this year we can really be proud of ourselves for all the cool causes that we supported. And as a climate action community, is really, I think, imperative that we join forces and amplify the voice of existing campaigns, but also create our own voice and our own campaigns. So this year, we were part of many projects, but I would say the most relevant ones are here on this slide. For sure, the climate strike on 23rd of September, we launched the Join the Strike call that so many of you answered to, and it was so cool. I mean, we are mostly based in Berlin as a team, so we could not see in every city the vibe, but we know that so many people participating all over the place. And in Berlin, it was so inspiring to see so many of you just giving the day off to their colleagues so that they could join the strike, people writing on Slack, where are you in the march, so that we can join the LFCA group, and like Idealo creating a very nice meeting point with music and so on. So it was really, really cool to see you all in person and joining joining such an important march. Then there is also the We Can Do It campaign. So you might have seen it on the Slack channel. This was more of a remote campaign that we joined for COP. Many of you as companies put your names and faces there to ask our leaders, the global leaders, to raise their ambition and really take real action for the climate. And we think it's really important that as a business community, we all join forces together there and we amplify the voices. And also this is also a campaign that we are proud of because some of you actually suggested it in the Slack group, and it was a good reminder for us also to use the power of this community to amplify existing voices. So it's also a reminder for you. If you see anything where you would like the resonance of the campaign to be spread out by our community, by our members, just please reach out. We are very, very happy to amplify the reach of these initiatives, and we really find them amazing, and it's amazing to work with you on this. And on top of this, there was also the Berlin 2030 campaign. This was more of a local campaign, which we joined in early summer, and it was the aim of the campaign was to collect signatures for a referendum in Berlin in order to change the constitutional law and force the government in Berlin to put net zero targets by 2030. So it sounded very far in reach, and it sounded very, very hard to work on, and actually it was an amazing result in the end, and we are so proud that we were collaborating there with so many of you. I see Carolina in the call, I see Johan, of course, and the Klima team who hosted all the in-person meetings as well. The signatures reached were 100,000 more than necessary, so there will indeed be a referendum in Berlin, which is very exciting, and we hope we can help also with other local campaigns. We are of course not focusing only on Berlin. This was just at our door and it was easy to support it, but we know that such campaigns are spreading over Europe, and we are very proud of it, and we are very happy to give our contribution. But yes, as I was saying, we are happy to amplify voices, but we are also happy to create our own community voice, which is I think embodied very well in the Time for Climate Action campaign, which is the fourth logo that you see on the slide. And I think most of you are quite familiar with the Time for Climate Action campaign, and actually probably you heard even too much probably about it, since in the last years we talked about it a lot, but we are super proud of it, and we are proud of it because it was a success, especially this year, thanks to you. So recap for the new people in the call, Time for Climate Action is a campaign that we annually launch on Earth Day. It's a campaign that it's ready for you to implement and ready for you to share, and brings it makes it very easy for you to engage your stakeholders in take climate action. And with your stakeholders, we mean your partners, your colleagues, your clients. Everybody can, through the campaign page, which is also a highly customizable page that also showcases what you as a company are doing for climate. Through this page, people can take real action in 5 minutes. So this goes from, I don't know, changing their banks to changing their energy provider, to contacting politicians, discussing about food waste, and taking action as employee, like climate activism in the company. The campaign is available internationally. It's also translated in 4 languages, and this is again huge shout out to all the volunteers here that helped translating everything. And in 2022, we really stepped up our game, and we added new actions on, as I was saying, on food waste, activism on the workplace. Now contacting politicians is possible EU-wide, so it's not only in Germany. You have some sharing features, so it is possible now to make it more social media friendly, to challenge people around you to take more action. And we had very great collaborations in the climate space with the UN Act Now, Count Us In, SME Climate Hub. So this led to great engagement and great numbers, but most of all, thanks to you sharing the campaign and actually using really the superpowers of your company, really knowing your products so well that you could use its specifics to give a very authentic and impactful message. So this year we reached 85.5 million people, which is 60 million people more than the year before, which is insane. And most of these people were reached through product integration. So you embedded the campaign page on your products and you communicated effectively. And again, here the shout outs would last another hour. We'll try to be mindful of your time, but very, very quickly, some highlights for us were eBay Kleinanzeigen and Mobile.de, because not only the result was amazing, like they led to 60% of the traffic of the campaign through their actions, but also the fact that they were collaborating together made us very proud. And collaboration, we really think it's key to amplify our voices and reach results that we could not reach on our own, right? The Eduki team that spread the message, not only in German, but in French and Spanish markets. Idealo, who had prominent banners all over their their websites, and they even collaborated with the eBay Kleinanzeigen again, creating a consumption guide that they shared on social media. But also, it was not about only the numbers, you know, like yes, we reached a lot of people, but the cool thing of this campaign is that it leads to real actions, and real actions were taken also on your side. So again, there were donations to, for example, the Tannenbusch Moor area, which is very fragile in terms of biodiversity, and it is very important to protect it. eBay Kleinanzeigen pulled out a crazy amount of plastic from the ocean, and Personio involved 300 of their colleagues across 5 offices to engage them in this campaign, and to engage them in climate action in general. And Shop Apotheke, their team, they shared practical sustainability living tips on their personal social media. And since I follow some of them, my personal homepage on LinkedIn was full of these tips. So I really could see practically the reach of your actions. So we are really proud of this campaign, long story short, because we think that it really creates a huge impact. And we would like to keep on doing like that. And we would like to keep on inspiring people in taking real actions in their real life. So yeah, we are looking forward to the campaign this year, and would really like to encourage you to participate again. We are going to do a kickoff event on the 18th of January. This is a QR code to sign up. I also shared the link in the chat. 1 second, multitasking. No, yes, I cannot share on the chat while sharing screen, but I will share it in a second. But yes, so we are going to launch the campaign again, and we are really proud of the results last year. So we would really like to double on that, but also to hear your suggestions. How do you see this action taking place this year? How are you imagining to contribute? So this will be really a chat among all of us, and to find a way to get the best the best results from this. We think it's a really inspiring project, and we can't wait to talk with all of you about it. Yes, and so this is all about campaigns. 1 second, I'll stop sharing. Yes, so I will share the link in the chat for the sign up. It's our new amazing sign up system, and here shout out to our product team that is creating all these automated things that make our life much easier. But yes, so this is out for campaigns. If you have any questions, you can always write in the chat, or yes, privately on emails. Always feel free to reach us. And I think, yeah, goes back to you.
Yes. So yeah, I think we need to give a second to fill in the form. It's just really 1 email. So we just need to get a signal from you.
Less than 30 seconds this time.
Yes, that's the quickest. And we still have 2 minutes. And in these 2 minutes, we wanted to finish our meeting today with some Christmas wishes for your climate action. So we wish you next year clear priorities and committed colleagues and reliable tools and unlimited budgets and automated data collection. And if you feel like it, you can jump in this last minute and just like tell some things that you also wish to your fellow climate action practitioners in the chat or with your voice.
Yeah, I joined Timo in the club. Congrats, everyone. Like, these are really impressive results.
Yes, and many thanks to each of you to join us today and to be part of this active community and to interact with us and share with us your feedback. It's super valuable, and we will keep doing all of all of what we do to support you on this really not easy mission, but I'm sure together we can do it.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, we have Stephanie raised hand.
Yeah, I just have a Christmas wish for everybody here in the community. So I wish all of you a lot of energy for the fight against the climate crisis, and also a healthy dose of optimism so you can keep going and enjoy life while doing it.
Yes, thank you very much. That's a very good point. We will need it. So we are right on time. Thank you, everyone, and see you next year, and wish you amazing festive season.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.